The night was heavy with fear. A man moved through the darkness, his footsteps careful, almost desperate, toward a small, hidden dwelling at the edge of the village. Inside, a woman waited, an outcast, a whisperer of secrets long buried. He had sought her against every law, against every warning. Tonight, he would summon a spirit, a friend from long ago, hoping for guidance, hoping for a spark of hope of a world that had turned against him. The air grew cold as he stepped inside. Candles flickered. Shadows stretched across the walls, long and restless. He was about to do what no living man should attempt. But to understand the depth of his desperation, we must first look back, long before this night, to a time when a nation wandered without a king. For generations, the people had wandered through hardship. They had felt the weight of chains in Egypt, tasted the dust of the wilderness, and fled the thunder of an army bent on dragging them back. Under the guidance of a servant of the Lord, they were led from slavery into freedom. But when he passed away, a new chapter began. Canaan finally lay beneath their feet. Yet centuries passed, and still, the people had no king. God raised up judges, warriors and deliverers, leaders chosen by divine calling. Among them rose a prophet, a guide whose voice prepared the way for a new era in Israel's story, Samuel. Samuel walked among the people, calling them back to faithfulness, teaching them to trust in God, rather than their own desires. But the people's cries grew louder. They demanded a king, someone to rule over them, someone to lead them like the nations around them. Samuel warned them, a king would tax their land, conscript their sons, and dominate their lives. Still, the people would not be persuaded. And so, Samuel anointed Saul, a man tall and commanding, striking in presence, the first to wear Israel's crown. At first, he led with courage, generosity, and the hope of a nation in his hands. But slowly, pride began to take root. He disobeyed God's commands. He ignored Samuel's counsel. The heart that once inspired hope hardened, and the man destined to unite a nation began walking a path toward ruin. The promise of a king became the shadow of tragedy. Years later, as the Philistines marched their army towards Mount Gilboa, Saul prepared Israel's forces. But fear gnawed at him. The enemy was vast, their numbers overwhelming. He prayed to God for guidance, but the heavens remained silent. His soldiers faltered, morale crumbled, and panic spread. In desperation, he remembered the only man who could advise him, Samuel, but the prophet was dead. Without guidance, Saul faced a night of terror and uncertainty, knowing his decisions would seal Israel's fate. In the shadows of his final hours, King Saul made a choice that echoed with terror, desperate, abandoned. And drowning in silence from heaven, he reached for the very evil he once condemned. He had purged Israel of witches and mediums, driving them out by the sword. But now, the king who enforced God's law sought to break it. His servants scoured the land in secret, and word came of a woman, a medium hidden in the dark hills of Endor. Under the cloak of night, Saul disguised himself. Trembling beneath common garments, he crept toward her dwelling like a man fleeing his own fate. Inside, the woman sensed danger. To help him meant death, for Israel's own king had outlawed her craft. But Saul, shaking, desperate, swore an oath by the very name of God, that no harm would come to her. Reluctantly, she agreed. Then the night shifted. The air grew heavy and cold, candles sputtered. The walls seemed to breathe as shadows writhed and lengthened. Every heartbeat thundered in Saul's chest. He had crossed a line no king of Israel was meant to cross. He was about to summon the spirit of Samuel, a prophet from the realm of the dead, and the last hope of a king who had lost his way. The witch began the ritual, her hands trembling over the candles and strange symbols. The air grew heavy, cold, and still. Saul watched, heart pounding, fear and hope warring inside him. Then, the Spirit appeared, Samuel. The prophet, the guide, the man who had once warned him, rose before Saul, cloaked in shadow and anger. "Why have you disturbed me?" Samuel demanded, his voice echoing like distant thunder. Saul fell to his knees, pleading, desperate for answers, begging for guidance against the Philistines. But Samuel's words were merciless. "You have rejected the Lord," he said. "Tomorrow, you and your sons will die. Israel will fall to your enemies. Your kingdom will pass to another." Saul's hope crumbled. The ghost's presence filled the room, like a storm, shadows flickering and twisting. The witch whispered prayers under her breath, terrified. Saul had sought guidance, but all he received was judgment, the grim truth of his fate. The next day, Samuel's prophecy came true. Saul fell on his sword, his sons died, the Philistines triumphed. The kingdom of Judah is turned over to David, who would reunite Israel and Judah as a whole some years later. A story of fear, desperation, and the cost of turning from God. One night, one king, and a ghost that changed history forever.